MyMac Podcast 912. Dracula is a drag.
Hi everyone and welcome to this week's mighty MyMac Podcast. Yes, as Guy said, it's number 912. Well, apparently it's been a busy day for Guy. Well, yesterday was a busy day for him. However, I think we might hear a little bit more about a busy night as well. But yesterday he had a 3-hour drive each way to Philadelphia to see a Dracula exhibit at the Mutter Museum. Yes, mutter ye not. Much muttering was done, and it was less spectacular than possibly anticipated. Also, apparently, this week, there's been some updated tablet thingies or some such. Hi, Guy. How are you? Not dead. That's good.
Stop bouncing. Damn your screen yard and your bouncing. Your bouncing makes me crazy. Yeah. Now, for those who have been paying attention, and I don't really know.
That's everybody.
Everybody. Okay, everybody wants to hear about this. Originally, we were supposed to go to the Mutter Museum and meet up with our friends there from Asbury Park, New Jersey, on the weekend that we went to Long Island. But circumstances basically meant that didn't happen. So we decided to do it 2 weeks later and involve another super long drive. 3 hours there, 3 hours back. Originally, Gaz, I love my wife. I need to say that.
You've told me many weeks.
I need to say that.
You have said it's with gritted teeth, though. I'm not quite sure what's going on
Sometimes the teeth are a little gritted. Yeah. There's some gritting happening here. Only my love for my wife would have made me drive 3 hours to a museum filled with dead things and then 3 hours back in the same day. So in a car filled
with dead things.
Well, we did have a box of Halloween decorations that we were giving to one of their kids who also showed up for this. And as I think I told you, I'd been to the Mutter Museum before. And my son Peter and I decided after...
Hang on a minute, Guy. And this was your return.
It was my return. Frankenstein's son. My son Peter and I were less than enthused with the exhibits that were there. And after about 30 minutes of walking around, we were kind of like, okay, seen that, been there, done that. We're going to go wait in the lobby for you and Guy Jr. to finish the tour. This was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't even think either one of them were teenagers yet. And, but the whole point that we were going to this museum was to see this exhibit, this Dracula exhibit. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm going to go to this museum, this had better be like really great because it's a long drive.
Yep.
And other than to see our friends, I really didn't want to go to this museum again.
Yep.
So we get there, and considering that we had the farthest amount to go as far as traveling distance, we were the first ones there, naturally. So,
yeah, well, that often happens.
Yeah, well, we walked around a little bit, and then we went over to the place that we were going to have lunch. And finally, everyone showed up, and we all had cheesesteaks. The cheesesteaks might come into this story in just a little bit because of incidents. And then we go over to the Mutter Museum at our designated time. Now, to their credit, they have been doing what they can to keep everyone going in to see the exhibits with like social distancing. So they don't allow a huge amount of people in at the same time. And our window for entering was between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. So we get there and we start walking around, and I'm looking for the Dracula exhibit. And I see a sign that says Dracula exhibit. So I walk over to where the Dracula exhibit was. And there was a cabinet, a nice sized cabinet. And I walk over to that cabinet, and it had a book that talked about tuberculosis.
Right.
an autopsy kit, and a authentic vampire hunting kit.
Authentic. Oh,
Authentic.
Right.
It was real.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the symptoms of tuberculosis way, way, way back when, one of the things that people thought was actually happening to these people that were suffering with this terrible disease was that they were turning into vampires, apparently.
Okay. Yep.
And so they had a kit for either, and I couldn't tell if it was for testing or for saying, okay, well, they're pretty close to being a vampire, so shunk, shunk, shunk. I don't know. Either way, it probably wasn't a very pleasant end on either one's part with this vampire kit. And apparently, I looked. You can't find this kit on Amazon.
That's
However, it is a shame. I did think of a way if you have unexpected house guests, in order to make them consider not staying at your house, have an autopsy kit laid out in the guest room. And when they come in, just kind of say, oh, sorry, didn't mean to leave that there. And then just kind of scoop up all the pieces with, loudly with the saws and everything else. And I'll just put this someplace else until I need it. And then walk out the room. And chances are they're not going to want to stay at your house. So bear that in mind. For the mere cost of an autopsy kit, you too can keep out unwelcome guests. So, but getting back to
Dracula. Easier way. You do know there's an easier way, don't you?
Yeah, you just tell them to get the hell out of your house.
Yeah.
But you want to be more subtle than that. You don't want them.
Subtle.
Yeah. You don't want them.
Guy Searle, an expert in subtlety.
Well, not so much.
No.
But you don't want them to say anything bad about you on Twitter. Though I guess maybe the autopsy kit might not exactly work that well.
I think you're not going down the right avenue there.
Yeah, maybe not. Now, the part that was disappointing was that cabinet was everything as far as the Dracula exhibit went. So I'm looking at this cabinet and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I drove 3 hours, Gaz, to go to a museum filled with dead things that I didn't want to go to a second time because of this exhibit. And it's a cabinet it didn't even have a picture of Bela Lugosi in it. Though on a humorous note,
did the cabinet have a door on it so you couldn't even see inside?
Oh, you could see the things. I mean, there was just a couple of things in there. One thing that I thought was funny, though, and I don't remember this, I'm sure it had to have still been there from the last time, in this little alcove where they had this big cabinet. There was another cabinet, and then on the other side of the room, and then behind that cabinet there was a sign that said "Gross Library" with an arrow pointing to a set of doors. And I looked at the doors, and on the doors it said "Gross Library," and I'm like, how appropriate is this?
Wow!
In a museum filled with human body parts, that they have a gross library.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there was somebody with the last name of Gross, and it was his library. But I thought that was funny. Yeah, a little bit.
They didn't have a net library then.
A what?
A net library.
No, because they would have taken me away.
Yeah, that was lost in translation, I think. Would you like to know what I've been doing this week?
I'm looking at your notes, and I bet I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Pretty much the same as last week, if I'm perfectly honest. It's ScreenFlow, and more ScreenFlow. I, again, have been doing an awful lot on MyMac, doing some recording and doing these training videos. And, more and more ScreenFlow all the week. Real quick. What I said last week was incorrect. What did you say last week?
ScreenFlow was cross-platform.
Correct. Camtasia is
not.
Camtasia is. ScreenFlow is not. Yes, correct.
Yes.
Which is giving me a bit of a headache, but that's by the by. So I've been having more fun this week on MyMac, which I've already said. So having fun. Now I'd like to complain. You,
What?
I bought those Beats, Dre Beats Flex, the Beats Flex earphones, with the watch. Well, the battery life on them is rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. I was quite impressed with the previous Beats battery life until I've actually got a Sony pair of, I think it's WC310s they are, and the battery life on them is phenomenal. Now, they're pretty much the same type of headphone and headset. And almost
Are we talking about earpods or headphones?
Earpods.
Okay.
Sorry, earpods. And the one thing I don't like about the Sony ones is they're very slippy and they don't fit and sit as nicely as the Dre's do. But the battery life on them, well, they go forever and ever and ever. They're incredible.
As long as they stay in your ears.
Yeah, well, they stay in the ears. It's just that the strap, the band is a little bit longer and not as thick, so it slips a little bit, which is a bit of a pain. But I've got over that. But I was really looking forward because I used to have not the Beats Flex, it was the other version they used to do, and I was really I like them. But if I think back, the battery life compared to the Sony on those was pretty awful. So, folks, if you like your earpods, call them earpods, in-ear earphones, don't buy the Dre ones. Not if you're expecting the battery life.
Decent battery life, yeah.
Now, connectivity, they are good. They are really good. They'll just pop up on your machine. Although actually the other day we were watching TV and they popped up on the Apple TV and everybody's going, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I'll just get rid of that message. So sometimes they can be too annoying the other way. Anyway.
Well, you remember all the trouble that I had with my AirPods, getting them to connect so that I could do this podcast. And that's finally done.
Yeah. Well, I've got another complaint, Guy.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Well, or is it something else?
It's something else.
Okay, good.
So the Apple Watch, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. However.
Oh, wait. So you did get the SE?
I got the SE, yes.
Okay. I didn't know you'd already gotten those.
Yes, I've already got it and I've been using it and it's been superb and I'm loving it. Apart from, Guy, it has got a different back on it. It's got one of these what's the word I'm looking for? It's
aluminum?
Not a plastic back. No, it's not a plastic back. There's a specific word that's completely left my
fiberglass?
No. It's composite, a composite.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a plastic. It's plastic, but it's a composite plastic. So it's we used to the company I used to work for. We used a composite to make up I'm going off tangent. Let me get back to what I need to speak about. Let me get back to what I need to speak about. What I've found with that back is that it's a lot more difficult to insert the straps and change straps on it because the little button on the back doesn't press in as readily and as easily and is quite fiddly to get right when you're pressing the button in to change straps. Now, initially I thought it was me and perhaps I'd bitten my nails down to my, the bone. So that wasn't helping, but it's not that. It just is much more fiddly. So I've got to say they've created a new back. It's this composite back on the SE. And that's the only thing I would complain about it. Actually getting the strap on and off with this composite back is not as easy and as good as the other Apple Watches. So be aware, folks. Just be aware. If you change the strap a lot, just be prepared to be ever so slightly a little frustrated when you're changing your straps on your SE.
Maybe it'll get easier as you own it for a while.
Well, we'll see. I've probably changed the strap on this one more than I did on my old one. And it's not become any easier. So we'll see. We'll see.
Is it worth going to like an Apple store and seeing if that's the norm?
I think it's the composite back. Yes, I do. I mean, no, it's not worth going to an Apple store because I'll have to drive for, an hour there and then an hour back. Well, probably 45 minutes there and back. And I just can't be bothered to do that just to see what the situation is. So, if I'm going past, I'll pop in. But no, so just be aware and just try it out if you go into a shop, folks. That's all I can say. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm now going to move on, Guy.
All right. Well,
I'm going to move on to Gaz's snippets. Now,
Going to ignore that. You're going to just completely ignore that other bit, aren't you?
what other bit?
Right underneath ScreenFlow.
Yeah, because I don't care what mic you're using today.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well, then please carry on.
You've not put a different mic in there, have you?
It is a different mic.
Well, the thing is, that writing has been up there forever.
No, I changed it. It's actually different this week. Not by a lot.
Okay. I'm just going to reverse out. What mic is Guy using today?
Well, today I am on the Heil PR40, which was my old hotness for a long time before I got the Lewitt. But next week, Gaz, now you remember my New Year's resolution was to not buy any more mics. I have so just blown the crap out of that resolution. Like most New Year's resolutions, 3 weeks later, it was like, that's a nice looking microphone.
Yeah.
So,
mic.
But a microphone that I've wanted for a really, really long time came up on Facebook Marketplace, and I bought it. So we will talk about that.
You are.
I am such an ass. We will talk about that next week as far as the actual microphone goes, because Tracy is actually going out of town she's a busy traveling woman. She's going on down to North Carolina, and I had the opportunity to go too, but it was kind of like, oh God, more driving. I just didn't feel like another long trip 2-3 weeks in a row. So I'm going to stay home, take care of all the animals. And next week I will have all kinds of time to test the microphone ahead of time. And I'll be so ready, like today, to do the podcast at the time that I said we were going to do the podcast.
I'm saying nothing.
Okay.
I'm saying nothing.
Go ahead.
Anyway, just before I do hit the snippets symbol again, in case he's listening, hi, Adam. Right. We'll see if we get any response to that. So here's Gaz's snippets. Right.
Deja vu.
There may be deja vu. Yeah, absolutely. There may be a bit of repetitiveness here, and there may also be a little bit of commentary, but very brief on the next section. But let me jump in and we'll get there. Now, I think I spoke about this last week, but it was in my notes for this week. So I'm just going to reiterate it. Workers at the second Apple store have just voted to unionize. So that's the Oklahoma City. I think I did mention that before, but anyway, just in case I didn't.
You didn't say what store it was.
Okay, so it's the Oklahoma City.
You had talked about that it was going to be another Apple store.
Yeah. Apple Music and Mercedes-Benz bring immersive spatial audio to drivers worldwide. What can I say? Apparently, though, I did listen to Carl and Gang earlier in the week, and I think they said there's something like 30 odd or 30 plus speakers in the Mercedes-Benz. So you can imagine, can't you? If you're listening to some music and it has a helicopter in the music, I don't know why it would have a helicopter in the music.
You're going to drive right off the road into a pole.
Yeah, because you'd suddenly be ducking all over the place, wouldn't you? Anyway,
do not listen to Pink Floyd, The Wall. I can't remember what song it is now, but don't listen to that song if you're in that Mercedes, because someone will die. And then you'll end up at the Mutter Museum. Call back.
Yeah, call back. Apple freezes the plan to use China's YMTC chips amid mounting political pressure. Apple has put plans on hold to use memory chips from China's Yangtze Memory Technologies company in its products. There you go. Apple's iPhone trade-in program has a major flaw. Do you know what that flaw is?
What is that, Gaz?
Apparently, it's theft in transit, Guy. So now that's not a major flaw. That is making sure that you insure when you're sending the products back. So I'm a bit perplexed by that one.
Well, okay. Before we move on, what's probably going on is the packaging that Apple sends you is very distinctive.
Yes.
And anyone who sees that packaging will know, aha, that is a package that is going to go to Apple and has a perfectly good working device inside of it. So someone, however it is you send it, is going, whoop, not that one. So that's probably what's going on there. Or they recognize the address.
It's called insurance. It's called using a reliable...
Register it when you send it.
But that's Apple. No, it's not your fault. It's Apple's fault. Trading program, they've got to sort it. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that.
Yeah, but you have to be able to prove that you actually sent it.
That can be fixed. Well, you can get a send receipt. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
You get that from most people. That's not a problem. It's whether it's insured or not. So I think it's not a major flaw. It's just a flaw which needs fixing.
Except it's in people.
Apple Watch Ultra with polished titanium finish, ? Guy. This jeweler is offering it to everyone. So apparently the Apple Watch Ultra comes with the largest case and display in the history of the company's wearables, with a range of new features. However, it's only available in the matte titanium finish. Apparently, an Arizona jeweler is specializing, spelt with a Z, cars, no, it should be an S, in polishing the titanium case and buttons for a slick aesthetic look. So there you go. If you want yours polished, just send it in, Guy. I'm saying no more. Meta's Zuckerberg takes aim at Apple's iMessage new ad. So apparently Facebook and Instagram partner Meta is targeting Apple's iMessage in a new advertising touting Meta's WhatsApp end-to-end SMS encryption. Yeah, great.
Yeah, because every single company that is social, has some kind of social media component, should be at the same standards that Facebook is for privacy.
I'm moving on to your favorites, and that's an analyst. Okay.
Oh,
this analyst says the folding iPhone will cost $2,500, but he thinks there might be a folding iPad first in 2024.
Huh? What's that analyst's name?
I'm not going to tell you because you'll take the mickey far too much out of him.
No. Just what's his name?
Ross Young.
Oh, that's not the one I thought it was going to be. Wasn't Gene Munster? Sorry. Okay.
I think it's Ross Young. Anyway, I might be wrong there. Actually, I might be doing him a disservice, but I'm going to leave it there because I don't care.
Yeah, that's good. There's no joke there.
No. Apple TV Plus ad-supported tier may cost $4.99 a month. Not happy. Apple don't want ads. Not if you're paying for the service.
Wait, say that again.
Apple TV Plus ad-supported tier may cost $4.99 per month.
Don't take a page from Netflix book. Apple.
No. Apple looks to be planning to launch an ad-supported version of its Apple TV Plus streaming video platform. Yeah, I agree. Now, this one has got nothing to do with Apple, but it's a DuckDuckGo for Mac. I suppose that is related. Moves to a public beta with a cookie pop-up handling duck player. Now, the only reason I've put this on is because they show a picture of a pop-up video player in DuckDuckGo, and it's got a picture of a duck on it. It's a movie of a duck. So it just made me giggle. That's all I put it in for. Okay?
Well, if it doesn't work, they're totally ducked.
You do drag them out, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that.
Take a gander at that joke.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So many people are not going to listen to this show this week. Right after that, it's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, they're getting down now, aren't they?
Oh. But it'll be a soft landing.
Well, yeah, we're moving on.
All right,
we're moving on.
Move on. We're out of duck jokes. Sorry, folks.
Apple introduces. I like duck. Apple introduces the powerful next generation Apple TV 4K. More on that in a little bit, I'm sure, and I think I've got a little bit more as well. iPad OS 16.1 will be available on October 24. That's good.
That's tomorrow as we record this.
As we record this Monday, yes. Apple introduces next generation iPad Pro supercharged. I must slow down. Superjaws by the M2 chip. Apple has unveiled completely redesigned iPad in 4 vibrant colors. iPad 9 is still available for $329 as the new iPad 10 sees a price hike to $449. More on that in a little bit, possibly. Apple says this iOS 16.1 will include the Apple Card savings account and the key sharing in the Wallet app. So last week, Apple announced a new feature for the Apple Card users that allows you to automatically add your daily cash rewards to a new integrated savings account. Apple didn't announce a release date for this feature at that time, but the release notes for iOS 16.1 indicate the new savings account option will be included in next upcoming release. There you go. Apple restores the Russian social network webmail provider to the App Store. Okay, well, Apple TV's new Siri remote comes with a USB-C guy.
Yes.
Yeah, but you need to buy a separate cable. I love it. I love it.
It's always something. You know,
Watch
really
OS 9.1 enables Apple Music downloads over Wi-Fi or cellular without charging. Very good. Mac without charging. What, the phone or a cost?
I would guess that would have to be without a cost. But how would whoever your provider is?
No, it says no. It means charging it off the watch off the charger. Actually, charging the watch up. You know, with power.
Oh,
so I thought so. It's what it's saying is it needs to be on the charger to actually download the music. I'm surprised at that. Although thinking about it, because I haven't downloaded any music on my watch. We'll see.
I don't do that.
What? You don't put music on your watch?
Download music and podcasts and all the rest of that on my watch.
If
I'm going to listen to it,
I have done because you use it when you're out. You know, if you think about it, yeah, you use it when you're
wolf wandering.
Yeah. Mac OS 13 Ventura apparently also may ship this coming October 24th. I can get rid of that one. Okay, iPad 10 versus the 9 versus the iPad Air. Bit of a lineup there. Got a feeling we might be speaking about that. Too many iPads, Apple? Maybe.
Yes.
Now, iPad pricing brings even more pain to European buyers. Gonna have a little bit chat about this, I think. In fact, do I say something else a little bit later? I might do, but I'll skip it if I come to it. Now, okay. we all know that there's a differential between the dollar and most other currencies, major currencies in the world at the moment. The dollar's been strengthening and strengthening since the start of the year. And I was going to go back about 18 months and have a look at what the position was for the euro and certainly the GB pound against the dollar. And I got a feeling that they were probably not quite in the same position they are now. So I'm not surprised that there's going to be a major price differential in Europe, certainly Europe and UK, and possibly some other currencies around the world as well, considering the strength of the dollar. However, what that made me then think was that this coming financial call from Apple is going to be really interesting because their overseas sales could be quite impacted by the fact that their products are becoming even more expensive than the already Apple tax
exuberant prices
that we see on them already. So it'll be interesting to see whether they make any statements about that in the upcoming.
Well, they have one of two choices. They either they either leave it as it is and just keep increasing the cost to the consumer, the end consumer in Europe and the UK and other places, or they cut back a little bit on their margin in order to keep the price the same.
Yep.
And what it really comes down to is Tim Cook willing to go against the grain of Apple shareholders to not increase the price for people that love their products.
Hang on a minute though, guys. There is a possible if the dollar is also strengthening, is it also offsetting the fact that their purchasing power of the products being made elsewhere, because most of these products are not being made in the US, means that actually they're offsetting it,
or Europe and the UK either,
and they're also making money from that side. So it'll just be interesting to see what they say on that, because if there are any decent analysts there, financial analysts, they should be asking them that question. Yeah, I know. The financial calls are normally a little bit better than some of the general analysts. But moving on, because this is snippets. TSMC, Taiwan and US tensions with China pose serious challenges for the semiconductor industry. Yes, we know. Apple iPhone sales grow while global smartphone market falls 9% in Q3 as consumers trim spending. So maybe it will affect Apple, but not just yet. We shall see. Original Apple iPhone in factory sealed box sells for more than $39,000.
Really? What?
This was
flippin' idiot.
This was an original.
I know, I get that. But it's like, it's a sealed smartphone from 2007.
Yep.
If you unseal it to make sure that there's actually an iPhone in it, however much you spent is gone. If the original phone is in there, you have a 15-year-old smartphone. If it isn't in there, you spent $39,000 for a weighted box.
It's an investment. It's like gold, guys. The gold measure. Anyway. Strong US dollar may undercut optimism about corporate earnings. Yes, so that's kind of what I touched earlier. Apple releases season 2 trailer for the highly anticipated hit series Slow Horses. Looking forward to that when it comes.
Haven't finished watching that yet.
No. Haven't you? What, the first series?
No. I only got through like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I got caught up in something else. But I need to, because I was really enjoying that.
Yes. Get back onto it. Apparently, rest in peace, Apple TV HD, and Apple has now gone all 4K. Funny, I've heard a few.
Not a surprise.
I've also, the higher model, I think, also comes with Ethernet, and we may talk about this later.
We will. We will talk about that.
Well, yeah, but what we may not talk about is the fact that I used to have problems with my Ethernet enabled Apple TV, which I've had for a few years now, when streaming stuff. And somebody said to me, use the Wi-Fi on it. It streams much better. I did that, and all of my streaming problems that I'd had went away. So I'd be interested in whether the new Ethernet model is actually better for the streaming. And I think it was my home, home server stuff, which was having the problem with streaming through the device. So we shall see.
Well, in my case, because I had iPod, what do they call those speakers? The little round ones? Mini pods. I had 2 mini pods.
They're called mini pods? They're not called mini pods. That doesn't
Well, it doesn't matter. You know what it is I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I had 2 of those connected to my Apple TV downstairs. And when I had it connected up through Ethernet, it wouldn't work because it required the AirPods to connect to the Apple TV over Wi-Fi.
HomePod Mini,
yes. So I had to take the Ethernet out and connect everything through Wi-Fi so that those speakers would work. But with a couple of updates, that no longer seems to matter. It works. Those speakers still work now with the Apple TV connected up through Ethernet. So I don't know what happened.
No, I think not as cool as it could be.
It's a mystery.
The Apple Store. Oh, hang on a minute. Where are we? Where we go?
I was hoping that's where you were going to go.
Apple Store strike went ahead in Australia with additional industrial action afterwards. Now, do you want to know how long that first strike went on for?
It had to have been minutes.
No, it was an hour. So 60 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, that showed Apple.
Well, it did. It sent a message, Guy. It sent a message. Smartphone slump will continue into 2023, says Apple supplier, but high-end phones may be okay. So it's all on this earnings call next week.
Which is weird. That's you would think that the higher price stuff people would forego, and the low price stuff would suddenly become more popular.
Yeah, but even the low price stuff in an economic downturn is going to be the struggling point, because it's the people that are down lower that really least amount of money to spend, where they might stretch for that when things are going okay. So I kind of get the thought behind it. I don't like it, but there you go.
In order to get my Bentley, I'm willing to use a less expensive phone.
Absolutely. Apple celebrates a decade of Europe Code Week. This year's Europe Code Week marks a decade of volunteer and community activity to spotlight the importance of coding and digital skills across Europe. Well, thanks, Apple. Talk about, a bit condescending. Apple said to launch foldable iPad in 2024. Mentioned that previously. I can't see it myself, but we shall see. DaVinci Resolve is coming to the iPad Pro, enhanced by the M2 chip. So that's pretty good if they do bring it to there. So where's Final Cut Pro? Apple, pull your finger out. Pull your finger out, Apple.
Yeah, well, I use DaVinci, or I have used DaVinci, and that's something else that we'll talk about later.
Apple Fitness Plus is available to iPhone users on October 24th. We mentioned this, I think, previously, that it would be coming. Well, it's going to be available next week, or when you hear this tomorrow, today, or if you're hearing this after tomorrow, the day before yesterday, after when you've listened, whatever.
After you've heard that thing.
Yeah. Apple Fitness Plus expands to non-Apple Watch users. Oh, yeah, I've just said that. I've got a link. I've got a Gaz's link. I'll come back to that later. Google slides into Tim Cook's mentions to promote Team Pixel while tweeting from an iPhone. Every so often, we see a competitor throw some shade at Apple on Twitter, and sometimes they do it while tweeting from the very phone they are mocking.
They're complaining about.
Yeah. iPhone app for browsing over 600 Apple Watch bands receives a major update. Wow, guy. Well, flicking through 600 bands. Looking forward to doing that. Yes, Apple earnings.
Guess how many are on Amazon?
More.
A lot more.
Apple earnings next week, as I've mentioned. iOS 15.7.1 release candidate breaking Face ID for some iPhone users. Yeah, that's not so good. So this is for, I think, iPhone 12 and 13 models, where it's affecting some of these Face ID problems.
Well, that's why it's a beta.
India finds, now this isn't directed at Apple, but I brought it in because it says India has fined Google 162 million for abusing Android monopoly. Well, if they're abusing the Android monopoly and they're fining them 162 million, Apple, watch out.
Well, you know what it could be, Gaz? It could be a tragedy.
Oh, dear. Why am I looking at that on?
Look at the name.
Hang on a minute, I'm not looking. I'm trying to.
It's
Jovan tragic. Oh dear. For those who are listening, yes, guys just brought up a picture of a skull, and the name was Jovan Dragic.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke star in a new Apple TV Plus movie called Raymond and Ray. Might be quite interesting.
Weren't those the guys that did the travel thing through South America?
No. Ewan McGregor was, but he was with Charlie. I can't remember his surname. Charlie, someone or other. No, but
Charlie, something or other. Yeah.
So it's an interesting name.
Love the movies that guy did.
Something or other. Apple Pencil adapter for new iPad is now facing up to a 1-month shipping delay.
Sorry.
I know, it's funny, isn't it? Apple lawsuits say health monitoring company Masimo copied the Apple Watch. Apple has sued medical technology company Masimo in Delaware federal court, accusing its new W1 line of smartwatches of infringing several Apple Watch patents. Apple's industrial chief Hankey to leave 3 years after Ives. So Apple's head of hardware design, Evans Hankey, is leaving the iPhone maker 3 years after taking the job, creating a significant hole at the top of a company famous for its slick-looking products. Yes, we shall see.
So Hankey is leaving, which I will wipe away a tear.
Oh, God, dear.
Hankey, tear.
Yes, okay. I get it. Everybody else got it. I have to explain
these things.
Well, no, only to yourself, Guy. Only to yourself.
Right.
HomeKit Weekly, I've gone to them. Meros. I've actually got some of their plug adapters, which are quite good. This just made me laugh, though, because too many things are trying to be smart. They've brought out a smart Wi-Fi essential oil diffuser. Come on, folks. It's bad enough having a smart fridge, which isn't smart. In fact, smart TVs aren't that smart.
No, not really.
Apple begins paying developers after reaching $100 million App Store settlement. Apple recently started sending payments to select Apple Store developers as part of a $100 million settlement it reached in the lawsuit Cameron versus et al. Versus Apple, which alleged that Apple had a monopoly on the distribution of iOS apps. So there you go. They had lost that and they're now paying out on it. Apparently, so they might not get fined in India because Apple's iPhone is now India's second most preferred brand for future purchases. Although that might emphasize they do get fined in India with reference to my Google. Oh, yeah. No, fined. Fine. Because with reference to my Google story earlier. I kind of not sure whether I wanted to do this story or not, but Apple Watch heart rate notification helped a 12-year-old girl discover and treat cancer. Yes, I'm going to leave it there. Walmart still doesn't accept Apple Pay in the US despite many customer requests. I think they're missing out, to be honest with you. I have walked out of a store. I have walked out of a shop, when they wouldn't accept my payment. It wasn't Apple Pay, but it was another payment. This was a few years ago, and they said, no, we don't accept that because. And I went, put all your stuff away then.
Okay. Bye. You just hand them back their stuff and say, okay, well, make sure you have somebody come and restock these, or I'm going to go to your competitor. Apple announces more ads coming to the App Store starting next week. And in an email to developers this week, Apple announced that app-related ads will begin appearing in the App Store's main Today tab. Come on, Apple. Don't you make enough flipping money, Apple? Well, this is obviously a division that has to say, yes, look how much money we're making. Anyway, that is the end of Gaz's snippets. However, I do have a Gaz's link. I think I might have mentioned this before. No, this is good. I think I may have mentioned this week, but I've got the link, which I'll have to send to Guy to put in the show notes. And in case anybody doesn't remember, or if I didn't mention it, I think there was a newspaper in the UK that said, "Can this lettuce outlive Liz Truss's premiership?" Well, guess what? It did. So yeah, I might put that in so people can have a look. I don't think the lettuce is still going, but it outlived Liz Truss, and that's the end of Gaz's link. You what? And I wouldn't want either one of them on a Big Mac. No. Either Liz Truss or that lettuce. Well, no, that's enough said. Yeah. Thank you. I'm done. No, I'm not dead. It's tragic. I'm done. Okay. All right. We have. Hello. I am so distracted today. I know, it's so unusual. We are going to talk about some of the new stuff at Apple that will likely cost you more than the last time. Would have helped. Yes. If anybody said, "Oh no, wait until next week, there's new iPads coming," and then they saw the price increase, they'd go. Said, "No, buy the old one. Thanks. Go buy the old one instead." Go back to the refurb store. All right. We're going to start with the accessories and then we'll work our way. There is 2 new folio type devices for the new iPad. And considering how the smart keyboard works, I kind of welcome this, and I wish they actually had these as well for the iPad Pro. The Smart Folio for the iPad 10th generation only comes in 4 vibrant colors. Um, I don't have listed here how much they were.
What, the keyboards?
The Smart Folio, $79. The Smart Folio is $79.
Right. Are you sure?
Okay. Well, that's what it's showing here.
Okay.
$79.
No.
And then
Really?
What was
the folio? I've got. If you're talking about the Magic Keyboard Folio, it's
no,
200.
no. I'm talking about the Smart Folio for the 10th generation iPad.
Oh, okay, right.
Is there? Can you? I don't think there is a Magic
Hang on a
Keyboard
minute.
for the 10th gen iPad.
Well, I'll tell you what. The Smart Keyboard. I don't know, for the Apple iPro, for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Hang on a minute. Let me have a look here.
Pro.
iPad Pro 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation. That's £199.
Okay, that's actually come down in price.
What?
Than what it was before. Yeah, it was more expensive.
I'm just trying to work out where you've got $79 though. I can't see any.
Okay, if you look in accessories, new iPads.
Yes. All right, I'm going to go to accessories. You said accessories, so this is live, folks. This is live.
Yeah.
iPad, yeah. iPad accessories, iPad, yeah.
Smart Folio.
No, because obviously I'm in the UK, so Smart Folio, right? Are you? Right. So you're just talking about the case. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, that's expensive.
Now, and that doesn't have a keyboard. By the way,
it's £89 over here.
Okay, it's $79 in U.S. currency.
Obviously. I know
79 Ishtar Krishmas. I don't know.
Yeah, 79 Ishtar Krishnas. Whereas we're actually got a rate which is higher than that. So ours should be less expensive, although we have tax already added to it. So that's why it might be more expensive, because we always forget that tax. We mostly show prices with tax added. Anyway, I'll let you move on, because this is taking far too long for a case.
All right. Well, the next one, so that you can go ahead and start looking for this one, the Magic Keyboard Folio for the 10th generation iPad.
Magic Keyboard Folio. Yep.
Also comes in multiple colors.
Does it? Wow.
Now this is a keyboard plus trackpad. So all of these devices, especially like the new iPad and everything else, of course, is going to run iPad OS 16, and will as well allow you to use some of the more UI advanced features that Apple's coming out with. I'm showing that listed as $249, so it's a bit more expensive.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, that's practically the same price. That's more than half the price of the flippin' iPad.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing. I'm not seeing different colors though for that. I've only seen a white one.
Oh, is it just? I thought it was going to have different colors. Let me click on that.
I'm only seeing the white one. So.
All right, you're right.
Yeah.
So there, it's only white,
and it's $279 over here. So currencies may change around the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's.
But I like this more than I do the Smart Keyboard.
It's quite expensive.
The Smart Keyboard as well, the Magic Smart Keyboard, whatever they call the Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pros is also very, very expensive.
Okay.
Next up, we have the new Apple TV, which, if you're going to update, these are some of the better features, I guess it has than previous ones. HDMI 2.1. I think this is the first one with Wi-Fi 6 with 2x2 MIMO. Bluetooth 5 has an IR receiver, which they've all had. Built-in power supply, which they've all had. Thread networking support, that I'm not sure of. I don't know if the lower models had that.
No, I think that's only on the higher model. So you have to spend £169 if you're in the UK to get that thread. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Gigabit Ethernet.
Yeah.
Plus as well, the new remote, which has...
It's not brand. That's not the brand new remote. This remote was available on a previous version, wasn't it?
No, this is new because it has
Mm,
USB-C. It's got it's got a side
whoa,
button
whoa,
that
whoa, whoa.
allows you
No,
to
I
do
disagree
Touch
with you.
ID.
I think you're wrong. I think this model, although it wasn't USB-C, I think this larger, because I actually thought about getting a new Apple TV previous to this release because of that new remote. So I don't think this is a brand spanking new remote. It obviously it's got the USB-C, so there might be some slight differences, but I'm pretty sure that they had a larger remote available previously.
Well, did it have the built-in D-pad that this one does?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, I wasn't aware of that because it from based on the ones that I have.
I'm correct us, listeners.
Yeah.
Please call in. Tell us if I'm wrong, or tell me if I'm not wrong, because Guy doesn't think it did, but I think it did. That this remote was available previously. So call in, email
Okay.
us, tweet us.
Well, real quick now, if you have a previous version Apple TV that doesn't have this remote, it's giving you USB-C for charging. It's also
Yep.
giving you a side button for Touch ID, which I find very interesting that Apple is kind of coming back to. Though I guess you can't really do Face ID on an Apple TV. You'd
Not
have to
easily.
walk all the way up to the screen and go, "Here's my face. Here's my face. Look at my face." It's got a separate power button, which is new for this remote, or a remote
Yeah.
as compared
Okay.
to the older ones. Um, and I actually I think that's about it as far as the Apple TV goes. But it's got some. I'm actually considering because my Apple TV is It's still a 4K, but I think it's 2 gens back. I may get one of these and put it downstairs and then take that existing 4K because the one I have upstairs isn't 4K and then move that one up to there.
Okay, so I've just gone onto Amazon and I just
Mm-hmm.
did a search for Apple TV. And I can see a 2021 Apple TV with a remote which looks almost identical to the new one.
Okay, can you put that up on screen?
You want me to share my screen?
Yeah.
Present. I've never done this. Share screen. Share screen. There we go. No, that one. Come on. That's the one. Come on. Share. There we go.
I love modern technology.
There you go. 2021 Apple TV. There you go. 2021
Okay.
Apple TV. There's the remote. That's the new one.
That's the exact remote. Is
Yep.
it? I wonder if it's USB-C or
No, I
if
don't think it is. I think it might still be Lightning. So I do, that I get, but the style has been around for longer than I think people think. Because I heard a few other people saying, "Oh, it's got a new remote." Well, it's only got a new remote in so much it's got USB-C.
It's
and perhaps
connectivity. Yeah.
and it maybe had that Touch ID on the side, but we'll see what
Yeah, I
actually-
don't see the little button on the side. All right, so those would be the two new things. It would be the Touch ID on the side and USB-C connectivity in order to recharge it. So if you have the older Apple TV and even if it has the new looking remote, those are the two features that that this one has that probably the older one doesn't.
Cool.
Okay, moving on from that, we have the iPad.
Oh, and apparently, can I just, before we do move on?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
I heard someone else said that they made it lighter. Wow. Because my sideboard is really
it's leaning to one side, groaning under the weight of an Apple TV. It's like, it's so heavy.
There's an awful lot of power in that TV. That I hope they're going to start doing stuff with it more than they are, because it seems to be overly powered for what it can do. So,
well, I was on Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices on Tuesday night, and this came up, and there was somebody saying that they'd wished that Apple would also do this as like a USB-C stick, possibly for portability.
Yeah.
And I thought at first I was kind of like, why the hell would Apple do that? I was, because I've been of the mind for a long time that Apple was just going to get rid of these because they were putting the app on everywhere, to all the smart TVs and the other platforms. But the more I thought about it, it was like, when I travel, it's a pain in the ass trying to AirPlay from my iPad or my iPhone to a lot of these hotel TV sets, which have multiple HDMI inputs. But if I could take just like an Apple USB stick that has, the Apple TV app and all the rest of that, that would be very convenient. I wouldn't have to carry all that other stuff. So I would buy an Apple TV stick if they ever came out with one. But
there you go, Apple.
I don't think they will, which of course means it'll be out next week.
Yeah, well, that'll be good because I might buy one. Anyway,
I would.
Moving on.
Definitely buy one. Okay, iPad 10th generation starts at $449. They bumped it from, I think, the A12 to the A14 Bionic chip, which is the latest A-series chip that I know of. They've changed the screen design, so it has an all-screen 10.9-inch liquid retina display that delivers an amazing viewing experience. I had to say that because Apple will sue you if you don't.
Correct.
Landscape.
connector?
Sorry?
USB-C connector?
It is USB-C, which means that the only thing that Apple sells that's new that I think is still using Lightning is the iPhone 14.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And of course the AirPods, but almost everything else is now USB-C.
And it's got it does the edge, so it goes almost edge to edge on the screen, doesn't it?
Yep. And they moved the camera from the top. As you're looking at your iPad, it was on the top of the portrait display. They've now moved it to the center of the landscape display,
top of the landscape,
which I think, all things considered, makes more sense for the way most people use these kinds of devices.
I'd say so.
It also has Wi-Fi 6 and 5G wireless, and for people that use, this was a bit of a contention, for people that use Apple Pencils with devices like this, it is compatible with the first gen Apple Pencil, not the second gen.
Yes.
Magic Keyboard Folio and Smart Folio, which we talked about earlier.
Magic Keyboard Folio, not the Smart Keyboard Folio.
Not the Smart Keyboard Folio. Yeah. Or not the Smart Keyboard. So it's the Magic Keyboard Folio and the Smart Keyboard for iPads. But I don't know why they didn't make this compatible with the second gen Apple Pencil, unless they, people that have the second gen, they didn't want them to size down to a less expensive iPad.
I can't. Why would they not? Say, look, we're phasing out the original pen, but it can be used on newer iPads. I mean, I just don't get that.
Well, you can use the first gen pencil on newer iPads, but you can't use the second gen on the less expensive iPads.
Are you sure about that?
Well, after the
Are you sure
after the drama of the Apple TV, I'm not sure of anything anymore.
Well, the reason I'd query that, I've just gone to the compare screen on the Apple page, and it says Apple Pencil compatibility, and on the newer ones it says Apple Pencil second generation on
for the iPad 10th gen.
No, for the iPad Pro and for the iPad Air. So I'm just. So
is that second gen only for those devices?
Well, it's not saying
that's weird too.
Like, it's not saying that it's compatible with the first gen, which I think is a bit off, really. But
which means if you have an Apple Pencil first gen and you buy a new iPad Pro, you may as well just chuck that thing because it's not going to work with it. And that's wrong. That's
if that is the case, that
hasn't been out that long.
If we're wrong, you know what to do, folks.
Yeah, let us know. And give us hell. Give us release hell. However that sound bit goes that you have.
You want me to find it? Do you?
No, I do not. I do not. We only because we're running long on this show.
Yeah, really?
Are you entertained?
Here we go.
Have my signal. Unleash hell.
There you go.
Okay, very good.
You just hear that. It's a bit quiet.
It is a little quiet. So the last new device that they had was the iPad Pro 11 and 12.9 inch. And they've really kind of stepped up with this, which they should have because the damn things are expensive as hell. It has an Apple M2 chip, which now, considering that almost the entire Mac line, other than the, what is it? The MacBook Air, and I think the 13-inch MacBook Pro, none of the other Macs can currently use the M2. They're all still on the M1, but they're putting M2 chips in these iPads. I don't really understand that, but I'm not Apple, obviously.
No,
I don't know if I would have done it that way.
I think we spoke about this before, and I said I quite like the idea of them putting the previous chip down into the lower products like the iPads, but they've jumped in and put the M2 straight into the iPad Pro. Well,
yeah,
DaVinci have made use of that, so maybe that's where they're going with it.
Well, maybe, because
I'm
using
Guy, not cheap.
It starts at $10.99.
And if you want to add over here, it starts at $12.49. And if you want to add, oh my, that's a 12.9 inch, not the 11 inch. So
doesn't matter.
And let me have a quick look. It's 8.9. No, that's the 4th generation. That's not the 6th generation. That's
a lot
the
of
M2. That's the one. It's $8.99. But then if you want to start adding a keyboard to it and a pen, wow. Not cheap.
Well, and not only that, if you're doing stuff like video editing, you're not going to use the lowest end iPad Pro, which I think is 256. I think is the initial storage rate.
I think so. Yes, I think so.
Because I priced one with 1 terabyte of storage, which matches what I have in the 2018 iPad Pro that I have right now.
Okay.
And it was like, damn, man, I could buy a really well laid out MacBook, M1 MacBook Pro for that much money.
Well, you say that now.
Yeah.
Wait until they update them.
Wait until the other ones come up. Yeah. Well, the MacBook Pro, M1 MacBook Pro that I bought.
Anyway,
has a terabyte.
Okay. Let's stay on the iPads, because I think you've got an interesting point to make about just how many iPads there are.
There's a lot of iPads.
So you've got the 12.9 6th generation iPad Pro. You've got the iPad Pro 11-inch 4th generation. You've got the iPad Air 5th generation. Not sure why that's there, but you've got the iPad 10th generation. You can still buy the
generation.
Yeah, and you can still buy the 9th generation and the iPad Mini 6th generation, which I'm glad they're keeping that one going, because that is a favorite from a lot of people. So that's a lot of iPads. I think they really need to possibly get rid of one of those, either the 9th
get rid of one of them. I would get rid of the Air and then just add most of those features to the regular iPad.
Yeah.
And just call it, iPad whatever, that you could add on some of these various features as
they've got a plan. They probably will get rid of it once they've got rid of all the stock. So maybe they're just
too many.
It.
I think there's too many.
Maybe there is too many, but perhaps they're just getting rid of stock, Guy.
Maybe. And my one complaint about the iPads, the regular 9th and 10th generation iPads, they limit them to 256 gigs is the most storage that you can have with one of these iPads, and not even, and then add into that as well that you can only use the first iPad 10th gen and 9th gen.
Okay.
The regular one.
Okay. Go on. Yep.
256 is the most storage that you can have. Plus that they only use the first gen Apple Pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why are you limiting this? I think that the sales, because not everyone is going to spend, and let's face it, if you're going to add in a keyboard to an iPad Pro, you're looking at $1,500 by the time you're done.
Yeah, it's a lot of
as
money.
Compared, there's a lot of people out there would be like, I just can't do that. I'm still on a 2018 iPad Air because I'm not going to spend $2,200 on a freaking iPad. And that's not even including the keyboard in my case, because I want 1 terabyte of storage. And it's too dear. It's just too dear. And I think Apple needs to do something about their pricing, because they are pricing themselves out of the very market that they're trying to create. And,
Well,
and let me be clear here. There's nothing better out there as far as tablets go. You
no,
can
I agree.
get cheaper tablets,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
they're all pretty much crap.
I think Steve would say,
Zippy.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, that's all I got here, Gaz.
Awesome.
yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I agree that that's all you've
Oh,
got.
very good. There's lots of head nodding going on here.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Doing the Batusi.
Do you use Notes or any writing app on your iOS device, Guy? Well, have you ever tried the 3-fingered tap, swipe left or swipe right trick? You may have missed this, but if you tap with 3 fingers, a little menu will appear at the top, which is similar to right-clicking on a computer. It brings up items like copy or back or paste if you've got something in your clipboard. It also, if you swipe left with 3 fingers or swipe right when in the Notes app, you'll see you can undo or redo your last typing action. And this is a native action, so it should work on most Note-like apps. Should you do the same thing?
Oh, that was a good, fast tip.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of
Batusi.
Gaz's tips. That's the end of
Adam West would be
Gaz's
so
tips.
proud.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Okay, we are. How many years, Gaz, have we? Sorry, how many years have I been putting in that sequence of sound effects, and it still makes us laugh?
When you say us,
Okay, me.
I don't know how long you've been doing it, but it just gets longer and longer and longer. and
Yeah,
longer.
no, I've been using these for a while now, but it still
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
me laugh.
Good.
I have an app pick, Gaz,
Excellent.
and it is
Hit me.
It is the CapCut video editor by ByteDance. It's available from Apple's various app stores. Works with the Mac, most browsers. You can use this video editor in a browser. iPhone and iPad. Kinda. It uses kinda. And it's too bad, because this is an application that would really benefit from the screen size of an iPad. It uses the iPhone version on the iPad, so it's kind of less than stellar there. But on the Mac, it has replaced DaVinci Resolve, which we were talking about earlier, as my quick go-to editor. The last couple of weeks, I have used CapCut for not only the MyMac.com podcast in order to put out the main video that the 10 or so of you that download it or go to view it each week. And there should be more. There should be more, damn it. Also, the much more watched by tens, MyMac podcast snippets or mini bits that I've been putting out every couple of weeks. So the fact a lot of the functionality also depends on the cloud. So you'll need decent interwebs for this thing to work well, and it's free with some, of course, premium features. Go on over to CapCut.com to check this out. It's a really, really nice multi-track video editor, and it does have, oh gosh darn it, keyframes. It does use keyframes. So if you want to put in effects that kind of fade in or fade out or wherever it is that you want to do it, it's got keyframes for all of that. It's a great little program, and I really like it.
Cool. Excellent.
And of course, if you can, there is the timeout.com link for helpful Ukrainian donation sites, the Ukrainian Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders, which are all fine organizations for you to donate to and to help out the Ukrainians in their time of need. Now, we have a little feedback.
We do.
Gaz.
We do.
And once again, before we started to record this podcast, I forgot to check in Skype to see if we had any calls. But we will get to those, I swear to God. But this is from Chris, who has been, and thank you, Chris. He's been a frequent donator to all the stuff that we'll talk about in a little bit. And he is giving me crap, and deservedly so. Deservedly so. And he writes, "Hey guy, thanks for mentioning me on the show, and once again butchering my name." So you asked for the correct pronunciation of my name, and I think this is going to be right. Trausch or Troche, Porsche, because it's supposed to sound like Porsche. So Troche, I think that's it. I don't know.
Well, just read it, and you'll find out.
I will. The name is of Ukrainian and Galician descent, as are some of my ancestors. So the pronunciation, and then he puts in a word in acrylic there, and it's like, no, I'm not even going to try.
That's typo.
Is it?
No, it's me being silly.
Oh, okay. We nowadays pronounce it German Taschusch, or shush with the CH as in Bach. Oh, okay. No, still not working. If you have access to a microphone, Chris, please send us that so it doesn't get even more messed up. Yet even my family isn't entirely sure that this is correct. Ultimately, it's like Porsche. We don't care how you pronounce it, as long as you keep buying our cars. Have a great day and just call me Chris. Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Yes. Well done, Chris.
Really enjoy that. Yeah.
Can I say, Guy, I actually got wood.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Okay. So Mr. Bob Wood sent me an email saying I should have known. Hi, Gaz. I asked Guy for a budget recommendation for a microphone. I figured that I would get a quick one-item reply to help me out with our Holiday Geek gift guide. I should have known that my question would set off a microphone firestorm, also leading to a podcast that was mostly microphone related. You're a good man, Gaz, and I am sorry that I lit the fuse. Bob Wood. And I responded to him by saying, "Hi, Bob. It made me laugh," which it did, Bob. So no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sending me like feedback that's microphone related is probably a terrible mistake on the part of anybody, because it leads to serious consequences. But we do appreciate the fact that when you do so. Now
go on.
If you would like to contribute, much like Chris has done in the past.
I assume the audio feedback was from last week.
Yes.
Thank you.
I haven't checked it, like I said before we started the show today, because we
don't need an excuse. Move on.
We don't. I didn't
just
do
move
it.
on.
I'll do it next week. You can become a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/MacParrot. You can buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. Now, Gaz.
Yes.
If people wanted to contact you and say, "Don't mention microphones to Guy again,"
well, anybody watching the video will think I'm actually part of that museum that you were talking about. It's getting darker and darker here.
You need some room lights. You definitely need some room
Anyway, you can contact me by sending an email to Gaz, G-A-Z, at mymac.com, or on the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, G-A-Z-M-A-Z. Or both Guy and myself on the Twitters, twitter.com/Guy and Gaz, G-Y-A-N-D-G-A-Z. Wait for it, Z. Z.
Cars.
You can also send an email not an email. Yes, you can also send an email into feedback@mymac.com. That's FWDBACK at mymac.com.
His name was Guy.
I'm so silly.
Said,
Oh, no.
Guy? I like
Went
to go
right
with
into
Guy.
it.
Pay no attention to that guy behind the
He's the
curtain.
guy.
Guy's the one.
Rapid
Guy.
fire.
Guy?
Rapid fire.
You remember Guy?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I'm going to go,
Guy.
Guy. Yeah! Wait, you let who kiss you?
Guy. I think Guy's like a symbol.
This is how's it go, line?
Guy, we need to talk.
I like that one.
Guy, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Guy, I need you to listen to me.
Anyway,
His name was Guy. No fooling.
if you want,
An email from Guy.
how would they do it? Come on, guys, stop laughing and get on with it. Come on, you're supposed to be a
Okay.
professional.
Oh, yeah, right. How
You're
many
right.
years have we been doing this show?
Yeah, right.
All right. If you wanted to get a hold of me, you can send me an email to guy@mymac.com or podcast@vertshark.com.
Oh,
You can also,
that's the wrong one.
it's a little
It was that
soft.
one.
It's a little soft this week.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be this one.
I'm having trouble hearing it.
Oh,
Boost that volume. Lift
Hang
that
a minute.
volume.
let me just do this then.
Yes, that is much better. Much better. So, told you about the email addresses. You can also reach me on the Twitters by going to either and subscribing to Mac Parrot or Vert Shark. You can also go over to vertshark.com for the really old, by this time, audios and videos, because I haven't updated that site in a while for reasons, and I won't go into it because you don't want to hear it again.
Correct.
You can go to the Tubes of You and subscribe to the Vert Shark channel. Just like, share, subscribe. Vert Shark channel. Like, share, subscribe. 3 things. It's so very, very easy to do. You'll also get Guy's Daily Drive vids if you do that as well. And Gaz, we have a Skype telephone number that
We do.
I didn't check before we
You
did the
are
show
so bad this week.
I am really, really struggling this week. And that telephone number, I almost blanked there as well, was 1 or +1 outside of the United States, 703-436-9501. That number again, Gaz, is 703-436-9501. Or if a 1 or a +1 makes you break out in hives, and I understand, all you have to do is go to the Skype application and dial 703-436-9501. So easy. All those things. So, I would like to say to the ever-increasing dark video from Gaz, thank you. Thank you all so very, very much for joining us this week on the MyMac.com podcast. It is greatly appreciated that you download
And listen.
to the MyMac.com podcast. We really, really do appreciate it. And Gaz, I think that this week
Yeah,
we were really good enough.
I think you're right.
I think this week we were really smart enough.
Not so sure. Yeah.
And doggone it, Wilf with a stick, woof, woof, woof. People like us. Now, before you go into the dad joke, did you see my Facebook reply to your picture of Wilf holding
Yes.
a great big long stick?
Yes, I did.
And I even put in a little script for you and Wilf.
You don't want me to use that now, though, do you?
No, I don't. I just
Good.
wanted to mention that so people would go to your YouTube, your Facebook
Twat
page,
Twat face page.
and see that funny thing that I put in.
Thanks, Guy. Thanks a lot. I was walking down the road with my dear lady other half, Mrs. Gaz, the other day, and I said, "Look at that car. Looks fantastic. Mind you, the muffler looks exhausted." It's a dad joke, and that, folks, is the end.
so you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.